What you're saying, everybody, Dungeons 4, this is the PC option in our channel for today. And, the Calypso Media is a publisher and coming from developer Realform Studios. And the Dungeons 4 invites you back to the throne of the absolute evil. It is time to amass your armies of greedy creatures, slapping around some little snots and bringing chaos to the lush green, disgustingly bright lands of the overworld. One might wonder, but wait a minute, didn't we already do just that in the previous installment? Well, yes, but due to an unfortunate workplace incident involving a massive gauntlet and some finger snapping, you'll find yourself in the position that requires you to start it all again. At least you have your loyal little snots, cranky narrator and trust follower Talia to help you along, right? Right? And it turns out that you can hire component support even in the depths of the underworld, and so personally tries and very amused evil to make sure that the things done and do goddess get a proper kicking in the process. Continue listening to our video and watching it to understand more. The premise of the game repeats its procedure beat for beat. You are the absolute evil and you have a mighty personal grudge against anything bright, soft, squishy and glittery. Dungeons 4 offers a single-player campaign that follows the adventures and shenanigans of the Dark Elf Thalia as she attempts to deal with the Goody Two-Shoes family with some plot twists and jabs of famous franchise throughout and along the way. You can also drive into a skirmish or get into the co-op. The unamused narrator mocks anyone and anything standing in his span, from the mission-delaying evil to Talia that won't common sense even in being heard, to your little snots and armies, to the general happenings around the game where no one will leave without their dose of sarcasm, ensuring that any moment of gameplay is filled with dry dead joke type of fun. The very structure of the campaign is presented in such a way to ruthlessly call out the overstay troops like the bad or the good. In our case, guy getting away at the last moment, lengthy overblown speeches and more. The unapologetic mockery of all things under the sun is one of the best features of the Dungeons 4, and the game is not shy of them either. Whenever you are looking at the comedic relief for more serious titles, an RTS to lose a few dozen hours in casual dungeon sim, Dungeons 4 likely has it all and more. When it comes to the gameplay, the map is split into two levels. You have two idyllic peaceful overworld and the dark dumb underworld of your dungeon where you do your dastardly deeds. Let's start with the latter. The center of the evil empire is the dungeon heart, the structure literally sitting on the heart of your base. Losing it means game over and incessantly mockery and finding pointing, so you better always keep an eye on its status. There will likely be periodic attacks from the overworld and from the yet untamed corners of the dungeon that will be threatened in. Later, you will get someone equally precious to protect. As the evil overworld, you get boss little snots around and even slap some sense into them with the hand of terror. That said, the evil doesn't discriminate, so you can slap your loyal general, your armies, and even your enemies as well. We have equal opportunities here. The little snots are very something of the Swiss Army knife when it comes to your dungeon management. They can build a variety of rooms, reproduce resources, dig tunnels, uncover spider nests and scandalize dwarves, and create the traps. A lengthy line of variation instruments of torture to stand between you, Dungeon Heart, and the various doggers are creepy crawls in the must. Not only is this passive line of defense between your base and those who wish to bring incriminating justice upon it, it is also hilarious to watch while gleefully rubbing your hands together. Fighting against the forces of good and completing various objects provides you a currency. Evilness. Unlike Dungeons 3.3, you have no longer simply capture a few islands of evilness and enjoy a trickle. It can only be acquired manually, forcing you to get out of the explore, fight and interact with the world more. You can spend your hand learning evilness point a number of research options, including those that will make you little snots faster, treasuring room, more roomy, traps and dungeons and so on. Of course, no self-respecting evil overworld can do without braving an army of the crinky creatures. Yours are represented by 3 types: the Horde, the Demons, and the Undead. They all have certain strengths, weaknesses, and desires. For example, your Orcs and Goblins and the other Orc creatures require sustenance that comes in form from the tasty goblins produced on the farm. They also die for a good when killed with the overworld's do-gooders. Meanwhile, in the Undead do not require food and they get resurrected back in the graveyard when it lagged. The process can be quite lengthy. Taking about early game, it might be faster and easier to have a dead unit immediately replaced by a new hired one that did wait like this. The faction and creature researchers unlock more abilities and ways of teamwork than your creatures. Additionally, once your loyal subject reach level 3, they will start to have wants in addition to needs, to nerf. For the Horde creatures, it is urged to throw hands in the arena. The demons needs to their relaxing mana bath, while the undead spend their afterlife in solemn meditation at the temple. The ability to meet those ones turn your dungeon into the worst nightmare of the manager, where a bunch of the overpowered moped peons refuse to do what they told or to do in such half a sad way it needs to be redone later anyway. The Horde creatures prefers bronze and greens, with the walls of their rooms being covered with iron spikes and torches. Meanwhile, the demons settle up for king, like the purple with the magical lights and occult decorations. The undead aesthetics include the turtles, lanterns, fog, and various elements associated with the death, such as the gravestones, skulls, and more. The overworld does not fall behind. The lands under the sun are lush, green, and accompanied by idyllic, peaceful music, which is quite disgusting. While your creators are done with them, a tide of evilness goes over the land, changing that into a darkened land, with the twisted buildings. The music swaps appropriately. True, by the end of the campaign you may feel like the game has grown repetitive. After all, with each new mission you have to go largely throughout the same scenario, build and upgrade the dungeon, hire creatures, and farm throughout the overworld. But this problem is not new to the managers of the strategies alike. While the game does offer certain touch-ups and a significant refinement compared to Dungeons 3, it still feels lacking when it comes to kind of major new feature that would span the entirety of the game and add something to the progression of every mission. Perhaps something like the gear for your armies that might change their looks a bit. Think of Overworld 2, they will silly mini equipment like frying pans and the chief's hats and the like. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. Peace.